Okay, it's now 5 o'clock. We will start the meeting. Roll call, please.
All right, Mr. Warren?
I'm here.
Mr. Barber? Mr. Scares?
Here.
I will also note that we have Mr. Davis in attendance.
Are there any revisions or additions to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. New business, consideration of ODAC request. Mr. Smithman.
Yes, sir. The Old Dominion Agriculture Foundation invited us to a meeting of their executive committee a few weeks ago. It presented a proposal requesting assistance with the acquisition of 2 parcels that are contiguous to their existing land at the Old Dominion Agriculture Center. They asked specifically if the county would consider paying for half of that land and doing a short-term loan to help in their acquisition. Both of these parcels are on the market, and they feel it's critical that they own both of these parcels for the future success of their center, including a future industrial park on the site. And the second page and the remaining portions of your packet outline the parcel as well as the request. The request was to provide a $275,000 grant and a $235,000 5-year no interest loan. I will say that since our original meeting when these numbers were discussed, and this will be news to John, it's not that. If we were to use our Tobacco Commission allotment, that's the wrong word. Allocation. We have to match it 50-50 or 1-to-1. So if we were to draw 250, there would have to be a 250 match. The match in this case is the loan to the foundation. Therefore, those need to be equal amounts. The loan needs to be 250, and if you deem that you want to provide a grant, it would need to be the same amount. This is John Harris. Most of you probably don't know him. He is the new executive director of the foundation or the center foundation. And we have been talking to John over the last couple of weeks, and he provided this information this past Friday for your consideration. I'm sure he is willing to answer any questions you have, and I can give it a shot also.
Okay. I want to make sure you have it back correctly. All right. So you want to add any more to those comments?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harris, would you like to add anything?
Well, I can say that the 2 parcels of land. I'll just say this to kind of clarify. One of the parcels of land is directly in the middle of what we already exist. When we do buy this piece of land, it comes with 3 really usable buildings. The other piece of land that is really critical is road frontage, which would continue the road frontage for the complex. The usable buildings, I do believe that there's plans internally that we would love to have them because they are directly connected to where the farmers market area is, where that would be consistent with having more food distribution out of that piece of that facility. I think that's really, really important to what our mission is and to the complex. So if there's anything else I can add, you guys ask me.
I will point out, I did not accurately do so. The 2 parcels are known as the Shorter Brothers Garage, which fronts 29, and the other is a landlocked parcel, which is on the back of your packet. It's a commercial paint operation?
They have an excavation garage, that sort of thing, business out of there, and they call it the paint shop for whatever reason. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm new to that whole thing, and so they call it the paint shop. However, it's just like what you said, it is completely landlocked around us. It is
In the middle of the
it is
property.
truly in the middle of the property.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes, sir.
a question. Since this is a garage, has there been any checks for hazardous material involved? Any research been done on that at this time? Or are we just going to begin this week?
Well, we have tried to commit with the junior shorter, which is the garage. The other building that is, the other three buildings in the middle are not, I don't think would have an environmental impact. Of course, when you have a regular car garage, there probably is some environmental impacts and tanks, that sort of thing. We do have a board member on our board that is very connected to figuring out all that and has agreed to help me do that as much as possible. So we are in the...
And certainly, as part of acquisition of the property, the due diligence would have to certify.
Right, exactly.
It's a clean.
Mr. Harris, can you
Sure.
tell me, have you all talked to the tobacco commission folks about this? Are they supportive of this action? Have you talked to any of the foundations or anything? Or they?
Well, we have talked to DRF. They're supportive of it. There was a letter included in the packet, I think, from DRF. If it isn't, it was my mistake.
I didn't see it in here.
Is it not in there, David?
I don't remember. You might have sent that as a separate.
I think I did set it to make sure that it was sent.
We do have a copy of that.
Okay.
Mr. Warren, and we can.
And they're very supportive of that action. Of course, they're involved in the phase 2 part of this project. They have committed considerable funds to the phase 2 part of the project, which is the commingling barn and the warm-up arena that we're adding to the building. The Tobacco Commission, as far as I know, I have not spoken directly to them.
Yes, sir.
I think Mr. Sides could probably shed some light on the process of how this might work.
Well, how it might work would be just what you said about reaching out to the Tobacco Commission to see what their level of interest is. They do have a couple of different pots. They have an agribusiness fund that the Institute has drawn from before and would seem to fit into that. That's a little more limited in amount of funds. And then the other option, of course, would be the Southside Economic Development, which is the bigger pot. I think we would have to, I didn't hear everything that was said at that meeting with the foundation, but I think we would have to make a pretty good case to the Tobacco Commission about how this benefits the farming community and the economy of the area.
So regardless of which route, and I don't understand the Tobacco Commission that much, whether it's the agribusiness or economic development, it's still out of our allocation.
It would be if it's Southside. The agribusiness is not an allocation system. The agribusiness is one pot of money, so you'd be competing with all localities.
Right.
So the only way it impacts our tobacco money is if we ended up having to take it out of
The
Southside pot.
That's correct.
Which is at 8 million, roughly?
Correct.
Okay.
Let me say that the Tobacco Commission has been very supportive in the phase 2 piece of this. They are paying half of the phase 2, which is the commingling barn for the cattleman piece and the warm-up arena. They have, so I can't speak for them, but they have been very supportive of us.
So they're supportive of the part already
Being constructed. So
you need the land to be able to construct it. Ultimately.
Well, we need the land. We need the land to complete our sort of
Your footprint.
footprint.
Okay.
And so they are very supportive of the construction that we're doing right now, which is attached to the original arena and to the cattle barns that are already there.
So, Mr. Smithman, I would assume we would try for the agro part first.
Well, that came up, I don't know, I think Craig's opinion is more valuable than mine. I think Mr. Shelton. is that
Buddy
right?
Shelton.
Buddy is on the board. He felt like that was a tougher route to hoe. I don't know what you.
Well, just because it is more limited in number and it's competitive, or more limited in amount. If it hasn't already been done, I would suggest a meeting with Sarah Capps to sit down and talk about strategy. We've had preliminary discussions in the past with Ms. Capps, really about buying property out there, it tended to be behind the property, and they have supported the building, they've supported some of the expansions. There's been some cases where we went for more land, and they said, no, we really don't think that's valid. So, I mean, they'll tell us whether they think it's likely or not.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, they will, and I think that the fact that this middle parcel has these very usable buildings is really more part of the mission.
Any more questions from you members? So what I'm hearing is we want to try to get 250 to use this program from tobacco allocation one way or the other. And then we want to loan them 250 for 5 years at no interest.
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
their request.
Yes. That's the only way, that's the best way we could see it working. This is something we'd like to do.
Okay. Questions, gentlemen?
Is there any reason, I'm just asking this, is there any reason you can't go out and attempt to borrow the money for the collateral that you have there now?
We already have some loans on some of the existing property that we have. I mean, that,
So you have
now,
that,
whether we can go out and ask for an additional loan, I don't know that the total loan process, we have the income or could show the income that would allow for us to make all that back over the near time.
But this purchase is more, is it, for what you want to do, this total
Yeah.
purchase, is it more than 500,000?
Just a touch more than 500,000. Yeah, the total purchase would be, I think, originally what I said in the letter was 510,000. It was the total purchase. We would certainly, and then, of course, there's other additional costs and environmentals and those things, and we are prepared to, out of our normal operating, to try to get that money.
Yeah, they asked for 510, so technically, 255, 255.
Right.
You need a motion for us to have a proceed on with this, or is this just our verbal recommendation?
So we need to talk to the tobacco commission.
That would be my suggestion.
Is to get a formal conversation.
And we probably need, don't we need a motion to take this to the full board from us for consideration? Because y'all gonna go talk to the tobacco commission, and you'll have all the details worked out, so we could potentially talk about it at our next meeting. Would they give you enough time?
Yes.
Because I know they're on the time element,
Yes.
is because the property owners are kind of holding it for them, is my understanding, right?
That's correct.
And so you gotta tell them, you're on the pot or off the pot.
Right.
So maybe if you want to make a recommendation to, a favorable recommendation, forward it to the board for consideration and instruct staff to determine the best path forward.
I'll make that work.
But Dave, have you looked at their finances? I mean,
Me? No.
But you said you had a cash flow problem, so you couldn't
No,
borrow.
I don't have a cash flow problem with what I have right this minute, no.
So you would think,
And I wouldn't have a cash flow problem with the piece that we discussed. We can put that at how this loan we're proposing, we don't have, but to borrow the entire amount, then I would have to go back and relook at the.
So if you didn't get a grant for the 250, it could become problematic.
Could, yes, sure.
Okay.
Let's go, we make that recommendation, go ahead, have staff research this, bring it to the board, consideration.
April 19th.
April 19th, yes.
I guess I got a second. Any more discussion? Anything from the committee? Anything from the other board members? Mr. Blackstock, Mr. Davis?
just, I think that this is pretty important for us to support them. I mean, they're sort of like the jewel of agribusiness, and I think it'd be a good thing to support them.
I concur with him. That's going to be my statement. I think we ought to give them our support.
I feel the same way. I would like to, man, expanding that program to outside activities, and I mean, I just think it opens the door to be able to do a lot more stuff out there. And I did overhear you all talking about a portable basketball arena and stuff. You know, why can't we have a holiday class at the Ag Center instead over at Avery University? So.
Why can't y'all get Willie Nelson?
Yeah.
I could get him to come. You want to? I'll ask for that grant too.
Okay.
Do you want to mention why you're here, your big event this weekend?
Oh yeah, the big event this weekend is the Hops, Wines, and Swines. And what's that?
Oh, I was talking, sorry, go ahead.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Hops who's?
Hops,
Yeah.
Wines, and Swines.
Okay.
Beer, wine, and pigs.
Okay,
Yeah, to say.
my mind ran into a
Yeah,
different direction. You said
it's our
swine,
biggest
so I said, wait a minute.
fundraiser of the year, and it's we're doing very well with sponsorship. We have 6 wineries and 40 beers and about 32 vendors in the building, a band, several food trucks, about 5 food trucks. So we've sold numerous tickets already. So we'd love to have all of you there.
I was just wondering how I was going to pitch it to my wife. Okay, they're having dysfunction, and they told us to bring our. So you know, I would have a problem.
You don't have to bring anything. Except,
Yeah, I know, but
$75 a piece.
How much?
$25 a piece.
Ooh, got some good meat going on. Whoa.
Yeah.
What day is
I
it,
know you're
sir?
not referring to your wife.
That's this Saturday.
Oh, this
March-
Saturday.
Yeah, March 30th.
Mm.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kill me. Enterprise Zone Amendment Overview. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr.
We're gonna have all kind of questions. You
And I did want to add, we use the Old Dominion Agricultural Center as an asset for our agricultural clients and economic development. Thank you very much for letting me speak today. I wanted to talk a bit about the enterprise zone and the county's role in the amendment process. The General Assembly allows counties and cities in Virginia to designate a certain acreage of land as an enterprise zone. The state offers state grants, and the localities are able to offer local incentives. We offer those to targeted companies to expand or locate within the zone. And Pittsylvania County has two enterprise zones. The first, Zone 57, which is a joint zone with Danville, and that includes Cane Creek and Gretna. The second zone is Zone 24, which is newer and predominantly includes the Southern Virginia megasite at Berry Hill and the Southern Virginia Multimodal Park in Hertz. There is a map up there if you have questions too. And our background is in this is that we wanted to apply for both boundary and set of amendments for both of the zones. We took a look at them and realized they needed updating. The effort was initiated by Matt Rowe with help from Ashley Wolf, who was my predecessor, and Terry Witt has been invaluable with the mapping templates. Delegate Marshall also submitted a bill that advocated changing the state policy that was the add and removal maximum percentages of land, and David Smitherman spoke on behalf of Pittsylvania County. The bill is passed, and that has made it much easier to go through this process because we surpassed the 15%. Last week, the Department of Housing and Community Development, otherwise known as DHCD, approved the county's proposed boundary line amendment, and amendment changes, the incentive amendment changes. DHCD oversees the program, and they do allow this process to be done every year, and many localities take advantage of it. So it's not unusual to go through this process. Regarding our boundary amendment with Zone 24, we removed portions of the Southern Virginia megasite at Berry Hill that has cultural land, and it also has wetlands, which are really undevelopable. We added property in Blair that's across from Virginia Candle Company. And then we added land, and not to say added, we were proposing to add land around the Southern Virginia Multimodal Park in Hurt. In Zone 57, we removed public land that includes school grounds in Gretna, 49 parcels of a church in Blair, private residences, farmland, and land in which companies indicated they don't need the enterprise zone, so that gives other companies the ability to apply. We added land in Blair and some 2 tiny lots in Gretna that could be adaptively reused. So in Zone 24, we removed 4 parcels and we added 20. In Zone 57, we removed 289 parcels and we added 18. We have to notify everyone who is removed, and as a courtesy, we're notifying everyone who's added by letter. So we'll be sending 67 removal letters and 16 addition letters because we went through each parcel, and rather than sending one person 47 letters, we're doing 1 letter mentioning all these parcels. Regarding our incentive amendment, it's easier to group the 2 zones together in discussing this. We removed incentives in Zone 57 that can be offered by other partners, for example, membership to the chamber, that are not unique to the zone, such as the Shell Building Program, because we do that all across the county, or that are not being utilized, such as the sales tax rebate. We also renamed the incentives in both to be consistent, so instead of being new jobs created as an incentive, it's called job creation grants. And we also excluded retail and nonprofits from applying for some of the grants because we want to add to our tax base. The change thresholds in qualifying are going to be, they're less complicated, they're easy to qualify for, and they reward higher job creators. And we want to stress that changes to the boundary are being done based on real businesses telling us where they want to go. We're revising the boundary to allow the incentives to go exactly where the industry is telling us they want to be. And this happens daily, weekly, and monthly. And the incentives are being revised to give companies the value that they're looking for and to help us be competitive. They're paid based on performance, so they're retroactive, so that doesn't put the county at risk. And it protects both the company and the county. If you have any questions on the overview on the details themselves, please let me know and we can discuss further. And does anyone have any questions on the overview?
Anybody?
I don't know if anyone here is going to get a letter. I don't think so.
The enterprise zone down in Hurt actually took in the Stanton Plaza area too, didn't it? Is that remaining in there, because that's probably mostly retail?
Well, if the
It was not a part of, when we did 24, we did the mega park and basically the footprint of Burlington.
Okay.
So it's about 120 acres where the factory was.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question.
So now we're adding the entire footprint of the park.
That's correct. Because we're marketing it anyway.
And more land was purchased by the park owner.
You guys can forward a copy of this map to us?
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
It's going to come back to you in May, is that right? Where are we?
We were hoping to take it to the Board of Supervisors in May, but I need plenty of time to send everyone their letters.
One approach we had discussed potentially was maybe at the April meeting, giving them some of this information and asking them to authorize the public hearing at the May meeting. Now we can go ahead and be working towards the process.
I can't see it, obviously, from this far away. I'm assuming that's 29 going up through there?
Yes.
And you got green and orange, and one's in, one's out? Is that what that
The
is?
different colors symbolize the additions, the existing, or the subtractions.
Okay, so what color is the subtraction?
I have to look too.
I think it's blue.
Okay.
Blue subtraction, green is existing, and red is addition.
The orange is addition? Okay, so on 29, is that the other side of the mountain? I can't see.
Are you
it.
talking about this?
No,
No,
down
Blair's.
near Chatham Blair.
Layers.
Okay.
Chatham.
We're
Right there
going-
below your hand.
Right there.
Right there.
That's for Virginia Candle, and that's the land across the road.
On the other side of 29.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Dollar General and all over it now, but it wouldn't be on that parcel.
Correct.
It's behind, yeah, it's next to it.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was correct in what I was assuming. Yes, sir.
I just want to make a statement, that's probably one of the best and most distinct presentations I've heard. Thank you very
Oh, my, thank you. I feel like I read too much.
Very, very, very good. Thank you.
Anyone else? On the-
So if we could get your authorization, and the committee's fine, in fact, your bylaws allow the chairman to do it, but just this committee's authorization for them to advertise these changes and proceed for a May public hearing. Is that right? May public.
I'll entertain the motion.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Okay, we're down to matters from committee members. Mr. Scarry, if you have any other?
I have nothing, thank you, sir.
I don't have anything. Anything from our board, other board members in attendance? Mr. Davis?
No, sir.
Mr. Blackstock? Okay, we will go into closed session to discuss discussion concerning a business, prospective business or industry, or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcements have been made of the business or industry interested in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. All of this is done under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A5. Can I get a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All, roll call.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Be it resolved that at the Economic Development Committee meeting of Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors on March 28, 2019, the committee hereby certifies by recorded vote that to the best of each committee member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. If any member believes that there was a departure from the requirements of the Act, he shall so state prior to the vote, indicating the substance of the departure. The statement shall be recorded in the board's minutes. I will only do roll call of people who are on the committee. So Mr. Barber is absent. Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Okay. We've certified. The only other item you have is adjournment, number 9 on your agenda.
Show us the car.
No other business to be brought tonight. The agenda's been complete. I declare the meeting adjourned.